Good game.
Thank you.
Hello.
That's my best record for
Hey.
actually remembering to get the hit off Blaze for all the good it did me.
Okay, just can I interject for one quick step? Jeppe, you forgot to exhaust one of your officers when you played Tech Initiative.
Yeah, that's why we moved one of my officers.
Oh, he was. I think he was at the terminal at the start of the round, but he couldn't.
Yeah, but it was the previous round. I should have exhausted him.
Okay.
So that round where I should have.
Okay.
Luckily,
But
he wasn't.
You're right. That's true. That's the previous round. He was at the terminal.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
It didn't matter because I was to draw 3 cards at the end of the previous round, and
you only had one
because I'd thrown a bunch out on strain.
Yeah. Okay, so
I think this game really turned. I mean, I've never.
I'm going to get something to drink.
It was fun to give it a shot. I think I've learned a bit about the Dianoga for this list, which was very, very useful. Because I gave the game away, I think, a little bit by not having cards and giving you all of those wonderful attacks on the Dianoga, and even killing a few of your stormtroopers gave me no advantage and gave you advantage. Because, yes, drawing the best 3 cards in the game in your top 5, sometimes that'll happen, sometimes it won't. But I think that what I've learned there was I gained very little from the investment I did on the Dianoga, even being willing to take a bit of damage on a few troopers. But I guess I needed to hold at least one terminal, draw 2 at some point, because I am drawing. Sadly, my last card was also not a grenadier, or a. So I drawed.
Can I see what if you flip the cards in your hand right now?
Yeah, it was a negation. Was the last card drawn.
Yeah. So I was feeling so confident at this stage that I was even dropping my negation on a strain.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, that was
I was dropping it on a. No, I knew what it was. I dropped it, I believe, on a silo. Because at that stage, I was like, okay, I'm not sure being able to negate any of yours is relevant anymore because I was staffing you for command cards, and yeah.
Yeah, you really did manage to split your forces, but not seem to suffer any kind of. Because I was going to commit entirely to down below to take your people off board. But I think the Dianoga was just an utter. That was the game, I think, really.
Yeah, that was that earned me 9 points, and that leveled out the difference in damage we've done on it. And but the thing is, you'd killed one of my stormtroopers, so I knew that okay, I had reinforcements early in the game, which I feel is a sort of a double-edged sword, because on one hand you're in a situation where you like to have them, you like to have the insurance, but you can also do nothing offensively with it except put some figures out there and almost lure your enemy in and let them die, so you get that focus.
Well, once I know you have it, I obviously would rather go for double kills.
Yeah.
There were options, but they weren't really there on the table. I think, and taking your heavy out was good as well, because for a while there I had this, basically my full strength force had taken very little damage. Grenadier was massive, two reinforcements massive, and then me just being away from, able to hold neither terminal. I couldn't really change my focus and run up to the top terminal, which I did consider, because your officers, they're not totally useless with their shot and could have done some damage. So that was really the game. I think that to me, I think that as opposed to any other sort of thing, it was, you had all 3 of those cards are just sensational, played all to great effect, and mine, I didn't draw anything that I was particularly upset to be using for Zillow.
No, it's
okay. Hidden was all right. I think it sort of made some interesting situations, and I like the hired guns to live about as long as they did. But,
you got so much mileage out of those guys, and I do like them. I think you get a lot out of those 4 points. And with Silo, you can always be able to apply that little bit of extra pressure and counter pressure on the blocks to keep them alive, making me waste more shots. I was lucky in the counter attacks that you didn't manage to. Down below to take out that figure. I think that was very important. And that was where I had the possibility of swinging up around the top with my 2 remaining stormtroopers and 1 stormtrooper group. Or in this case, I knew I could go down there, and if I had luck to kill both your figures, I could claim that terminal. I moved my heavy forward, knowing that he would die. That's usually what happens with my heavy. I got a blast off, which is perfect.
That was also where I had the camouflage, which I did use to just. I mean, I guess my luck wasn't going to hold out. For minimum, there is a reasonably good chance when you can only search, when you have no search for Actually,
Yeah.
1 in 3 chance, but with the reroll.
The reroll on them is nice, but to be honest, I knew when I overextended with him that he would die, but also that it would lock some of your figures down, taking several action, killing him, and the moment he was dead, I would sort of be better established down in the bottom. So he was sort of a willing sacrifice.
I think I killed him in 1. The next attack was the one that killed him, I believe, from 6 to 8. But I know what you mean about how.
I think it took 3 attacks to kill him.
Oh yeah, well with 8 black die and Zillow, I think their star is sort of risen for sure.
I think someone is laying bricks somewhere in the background, or.
Sorry, I had to feed the cat.
Somebody's really enjoying their meal. They don't want to leave any on the plate. I'd be interested in what the comments are from the viewing gallery. Of course, we were in the match, but what were you guys thinking? Where do you think it all changed, or did you see either of us make a move?
There was the one point where I thought that it would be better to also go for the top terminal, and then you ignored it completely, and then this could have turned out to you controlling 2 and Jeppe controlling non-terminal.
Oh, I certainly felt like I made a conscious decision to commit my firing power to the south because I wanted to. This 9-sum works. These 9 troopers all need to be rerolling together. All need to be sort of contributing to fire. And of course, the grenade really hurt me as well. Yeah. But I don't think there was ever a chance for me to get both. At every single point, there was somebody who I wasn't able to kill on the bottom terminal, I believe, and the top terminal. Yeah, I did commit because I didn't want to split my forces because I felt I'd already lost the advantage there. And needed to sort of get my forces down into one area. But was there a chance for me to have 2 terminals? I would have loved it.
Yeah, only a chance, or a 1-on-1. But there was a point where you were always behind on command cards.
But I think at that stage, for you to have blocked down both terminals, it would have meant that you would have needed to use actions for movements you used for attacking.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
But
as I said, I think the Dianoga with that 3 block was putting 13 on it. I'm sure for a while felt like it was. I certainly felt for a while that was actually quite strong. But what was more meaningful was a focused stormtrooper. The 6 damage you did, the 3 damage meaningfully. That's what you can get at. That's what you probably are going to get out of a focused stormtrooper. If you can get the range, which you had no trouble.
I never updated it, so yeah, that was 7. But that was because, again, I think it's so interesting. It's just like some of the doors, and in some other games as well with push your luck. It's like a bit of like blackjack, which I otherwise don't know, except for the fact that there's something about you have to get 21 but not overshoot or some such.
Precisely, yeah, very much so.
This is basically this.
In this case,
you hear it first. You heard it here first. This is Dianogan blackjack with 20 being the number.
Yeah, your focused attack there was, and of course you had 2, I believe, so there was a good chance of you doing the 5 necessary. I did
3 attacks.
I remember feeling not like I couldn't do, but in your last attack you got him. I think you cleared him off on the 2 attacks.
But I had a 3rd attack, and I only went for him because I had a group with a focused and a non-focused, and one with a focused and 2 non-focused, and I went for the latter group because I wanted to be certain the probability was in my favor. I didn't get any surges, but on the other hand, the 6 natural damage on the first attack from focus meant that because I did it in that order, I didn't got a final attack with the last one, which I think was on a hired gun or a stormtrooper down by the red terminal. Yeah. I really like your Wayne guards in the resistance they actually give in a sense to blast, because you force me to consider what I want to do with the strain when I attack one of you guys, and even though I could do damage to 4 of them with my blast up top, you were able to recover a fair bit of it with your wing guards.
That was but although you did notice, I mean, that's where the getting on a focus train or even a hidden train is really important, because I used hidden for one of them to make sure that I got and the other one, it was better and more important to do damage. So when your heavy was sitting up there at a few health left, one of the other possible game changers I think I could have done was the 2 wing guards that killed that heavy. I could have turned them around and gone after the Dianoga. Problem is, without focus, and they're not my range shooters. If they had gone in and shot at range 4, or even one of them probably had a shot at range 5, there's a good chance they would have missed, and those attacks would have been. So I felt the heavy was better to take down when the Dianoga was sitting on 5 health. Whereas had I gone after it, the swing would have been pretty much more consistent. If I'd gotten a few more damage on it, even would have even made it. You still would have wanted to go for the kill for the 5.
I was thinking exactly that if you'd pushed it close to 20, every bit you pushed it from the 16, actually you started from 15 and did 1. Every damage you did would be damage you would take away from me, even if you then made me able to do the last killing shot for the 5 points.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting dynamic.
And in most of the games I was playing at the regional level, and vice versa, is that whenever there's a 2, stormtroopers, there's one set of decision making for killing them. But anything like a heavy or an echo-based troopers, or God love them, a lot of the Trandoshans, which are terrible, which you're saying, as soon as you can take one out, you really have sort of neutered the effectiveness of the other. But with the officers, which were pretty unkillable for me because they're just too far away, the heavies, one major weakness is really taken away, and so that it's still a very powerful 1-card activation with targeting computer.
Yeah, but I would also say at the same time, I think I wasted a bit of energy in that I both sent Blaze and a Stormtrooper up there, and afterwards sent them further down south, and that's sort of wasted actions in a sense.
Yeah.
But the officer sort of conveyed them along, and I did want to try and to clear that. There was 2 things. I want to clear the terminal for your hired gun, but I also wanted to give the sense that I was committing there so you wouldn't commit, and then I could use my officers to swing down in the center again.
Yes, very much. I liked your Blaze moving across the water as well, which was a nice sort of. I mean, that was there on the table, but I kind of went by one channel and one channel alone, mainly because I felt a bit outranged on that side. But yeah, I think that the lesson. Yeah, I still think this list. I think your list is very powerful. I think my list is very powerful. I'd love to play it against more Inquisitors because I'm not entirely certain that my enthusiasm for this list has been destroyed. I still think this could be a winner. One of the changes is to alternate the hired guns for Greedo, so you get a little bit of a harder hitter. Sacrificing one of the figures costs, but I think it's worth it. But I think the lesson here is that if it's a bit like Fallout, where going after the objectives is actually more risky than it's worth, I can just let people who haven't played this map that much do some damage to the Dianoga, and then sort of go for a strategy like you did, where saying, I am ready to neutralize and waste all that effort if I can just sneak in and steal it at the end. But better with a Zillow deck and a deck that relies on troopers, I need reinforcements and I need Grenadier, so I need to be digging deep into the terminals. That's the lesson, I think.
And none of us maybe drew as much benefit from Silo in this game because we didn't have a lot of
command cards. That was I was. Oh, Pierce, you mean? Yeah, that's true. But what I was astonished to see is that Silo really chews up your hand quite fast. So.
It's made worse by the fact that we're both using Blaze, and there was actually my Blaze. I think of the 3 times he attacked, he only rolled surges once, and that one time I think I chose not to interrogate because you had such a small hand. So the one card I discarded of yours was actually from one of my command cards.
Command cards, yeah.
Yeah.
With
both of us going for. The re-rolling, I felt that the trade-off of just the knowledge trade-off, just denying you a card on tough luck was worth it. But at that point in the game, I wasn't aware that I wasn't going to be able to seize the terminal below, which was what my plan was. After taking Dianoga, I was going to sort of feint towards the top, but actually with a hired gun, and then really commit to the bottom. But that just didn't. I don't know if it was rolls of the dice or good Zillowing, or just because early in the game you had the card advantage, it just meant that too many people were staying alive at the bottom, meaning I didn't get to seize that back.
Yeah, but I definitely also needed it in a sense because I would have played this game very differently if I hadn't had initiative the first round. And I know when I have initiative, I need to either be very, very passively, and in this game it allows me to, because you actually don't check in your victory points until the Dianoga is dead. So I allowed you to sort of nibble at him, but I also need to put stuff out. At least if I want to push forward, I need to accept the fact that I'm going to have losses.
Yes, indeed, and of course I committed to the idea that I was going to lose some, because of that reroll potential. I was going to allow one trooper to be in Dianoga range. But I figured with a 1 in 6 chance of no damage and actually a 50% and a remaining 1 in 3 chance of just 1 damage. Not worth the risk.
Yeah, and I'd seen your hand before you saw mine, and I'm realizing we both had tough luck. I thought, okay, I actually reread the card to be certain, but as far as I understand, it doesn't need for you to be the defender.
No.
So I was actually thinking this could be a terrible mind game that we could choose to use it on the last attack that might have killed the Dianogan.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And on the other hand, it could also really nullify one of the attacks from my heavies, and those single attacks from them are important when I reroll for accuracy or surges. And you could...
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I was really hoping with that camouflage when you attacked the group. I mean, I did. I was perhaps a little bit more clumped up than I normally am, but my feeling generally with Sabs and heavies is that sometimes it's actually worth the risk because they can fail on on
definitely,
that range, especially when you have a camouflage. And of course it worked with the hired gun, but I really needed it to work when you splashed quite a bit of damage to the top. But as I said, that was my first attempt on that map, and I'm playing in a tournament on Store Champ on Sunday, Summer Kit. They probably don't have the prizes, but with Nationals coming up, I really want to make sure I understand how this map works.
Yeah, there's still another mission on this map to play, right? We talked about it on the podcast.
I actually got a chance to play that last night with the Rebels, and what was really interesting about it, we were just talking about the pro tip of do your move before you pick up the crate, so you get full movement value as opposed to before your tired out.
It was the same in one of the first skirmish maps in the core box where you had the one where you had to remove the crate or pick up the crates and then bring them in your deployment zone. It was very similar there.
Separate the old guard from the new guard in terms of when we see at Nationals who actually played for a long time, because I didn't know that at all. And I played with somebody last night and he showed me and I said, that is great. I thought I was onto a good trick.
No. That was. I think I played my third skirmish game and I figured this out because it was one of the tiles where the shuttle is on Tatooine, and there are some crates on there, and you have to pick them up and cash them in for I think 4 or 5 victory points. And I did this with the Royal Guards, I think. And this worked out great because you actually with them I think you lost 2 movement points, 2 speed, not 1 speed. Which is actually quite a lot, and
a simple modification to my list for considering both maps is to switch out one of the elites for snow troopers. I'm not a big fan of the cross training or tactics, but with snow troopers you've got Pierce Focus Pierce Weaken, but also the Focus Weaken. So they might be a little bit more effective against the Dianoga. They might have a little bit more movement and better against the very, very heavy door in the picking up the trash mission. So I'm wondering whether or not losing that initiative bid, going up to 40 points, to have 1 troop of snow troopers would be worthwhile. Okay,
it was a nice game. I have to run now because I'm going to go to my gaming group again, and so
Were there any people following the stream?
Yeah, we had like 5 or 6 viewers. Chris is one of them. The guy from Dice Hate, he also joined on Discord right now. And I think the others, there were a few personal.
Man from my homeland, Chris.
Okay, so I have to go now. So stream will end. We will see us again soon, I hope, and at least for the podcast next week. So check this out. And
thanks for recording. I think we can talk later a little bit about how we want to maybe tweak the streams forward.
Yeah, I will also upload this on YouTube, of course, and then everyone can weigh in on what we can do better with it.
Oh, absolutely. I need the tips. That's great.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Stefan.
So, goodbye, guys. See us again in next week with the podcast. Bye-bye.